Your mother grabbed the mercurochrome off the second shelf, unscrewed the glass dauber, and painted your scraped knee bright red without asking a single question about what was actually in that bottle. That was the bathroom cabinet in the 1980s, a place where half the products contained ingredients that would trigger a recall today, and the other half came wrapped in so much decorative fabric that you could barely find the toilet paper. Number 22 on this list sat in nearly every medicine cabinet in America for decades before it was quietly pulled from store shelves. And wait until number 5, because millions of people rubbed it all over their skin every summer, fully aware of what it did and completely fine with it. So hit subscribe, because here are 30 things from every 1980s bathroom cabinet that would shock people today. Number 30. Witch Hazel. That tall, slim bottle with the pale yellow liquid inside sat in every bathroom cabinet in America for decades, and nobody under the age of 40 today would have the faintest idea what it was for. Your mother used it on everything: mosquito bites, razor burn, sunburn, puffy eyes, a cotton ball soaked in it and pressed against a fresh pimple before school. She kept it right next to the rubbing alcohol, and she reached for it more often. The smell was sharp and clean, almost medicinal, and it dried cool on your skin with a faint tingle that made you believe it was working. Most families bought the Dickinson's brand, the one with the old-fashioned label that looked like it had not been redesigned since the 1940s. Your father used it after shaving. Your grandmother dabbed it on bruises. If you had a splinter and the tweezers had already done their job, Witch Hazel went on next. Nobody in the house could have told you what it actually was, a distillate from the bark of the hamamelis shrub, but it did not matter. It worked on everything, or at least it felt like it did, and that was good enough for the entire household. Number 29. The matching carpet set. This was the complete package. A rug for the floor, a cover for the lid, and sometimes a contoured piece that wrapped around the base of the toilet itself. The floor rug sat directly next to the bowl, absorbing whatever it absorbed, and nobody talked about that. The entire set came in coordinating colors, often with embroidered flowers or seashell patterns. Your mother picked it to match the towels, which matched the shower curtain, which matched the soap dish. The bathroom looked like a furniture showroom. It also meant there was wall-to-wall carpet inches from standing water, in a room with steam and moisture every single day. Today, bathroom designers will tell you that fabric near a toilet is a hygiene problem. Back then, it was a style decision. Number 28. The crocheted tissue box cover. Someone in the house, usually a grandmother, crocheted a fitted cover for the box of Kleenex, and it sat on the back of the toilet tank like a small piece of furniture. Some were plain, some had a doll on top, a Southern Belle figure with a wide skirt that hid the tissues underneath. You pulled a tissue through the opening in the doll's dress. Nobody found this strange. The box itself was considered too ugly to leave exposed, so it got a handmade outfit. These covers took hours to make, were given as gifts at Christmas, and sat year-round in bathrooms that already had matching everything. Today, the idea of disguising a tissue box with a crocheted dress sounds like a joke. In 1984, it was considered craftsmanship. Number 27. The guest soaps. Small, pastel-colored bars shaped like seashells or roses, arranged in a glass dish next to the sink. Strictly decorative. Nobody was allowed to use them. If a guest actually picked one up and lathered their hands, your mother would notice the fingerprint and quietly replace it after they left. The soaps smelled like perfume, came individually wrapped in tissue paper, and could sit untouched for years. Some households had them in every bathroom. They served no cleaning purpose whatsoever, existed entirely to look nice, and cost more per bar than the soap the family actually used. Today, a bar of soap that nobody is allowed to touch would seem wasteful. In the 1980s, it meant your bathroom was presentable. Number 26. Epsom salts. Every medicine cabinet had a box the size of a cereal carton, and your parents used it for everything. Sore muscles, splinter removal, constipation, garden fertilizer, and cleaning the grout around the bathtub. It was the most versatile product in the house that nobody could fully explain. Your father would pour a cup into the bath after mowing the lawn and sit there for 45 minutes. Your mother made a paste out of it for bee stings. The box lasted forever because you only needed a handful at a time, but every household bought a new one twice a year anyway. Epsom salts still exist today, but the idea of one product handling that many unrelated jobs would make most people uneasy. Number 25. The rubber hot water bottle. The flat red rubber bag with the screw-on cap lived behind the towels, and it came out every time someone had a stomachache, cramps, or a sore back. Your mother filled it at the bathroom sink with water hot enough to make you flinch, screwed the cap on tight, wrapped it in a hand towel, and pressed it against whatever part of your body hurt. You lay there with this heavy, warm, faintly rubber-smelling thing draped across your stomach, and within 20 minutes it had cooled to lukewarm and you had to get up and refill it. The cap leaked on half of them. The rubber cracked after a year and started weeping water into the bed. And if you forgot about it and sat on it, the cap popped off and soaked everything. Today, most people use electric heating pads with automatic shutoffs. The idea of filling a rubber bladder with near-boiling water and putting it on a child's stomach would make a modern pediatrician pause. Number 24. Milk of magnesia. The chalky white liquid in the blue bottle was another all-purpose remedy that sat in every cabinet. Your parents drank it for heartburn and constipation, but they also dabbed it on sunburns, used it as a deodorant, and some women applied it to their faces as a makeup primer before primer existed. The taste was somewhere between chalk dust and toothpaste, and drinking it required a level of commitment that children simply did not have. You would take one sip, set the cup down, and negotiate for 10 minutes before taking another. The bottle always had a white ring of dried residue around the cap that nobody ever cleaned. Today, the idea of one product being a laxative, an antacid, a deodorant, and a skin treatment would raise questions about what exactly it was doing. Number 23. Calamine lotion. The pink bottle was a permanent fixture, and every child in America walked around at some point looking like they had been painted with Pepto-Bismol. Poison ivy, mosquito bites, chickenpox, sunburn. Any skin irritation got a thick coat of pink lotion applied with a cotton ball. You stood in the bathroom while your mother dabbed it on, and it dried into a powdery crust that cracked every time you moved. You were told not to scratch, which was impossible, so you scratched through the dried lotion and left pink residue on every surface you touched. The product worked mainly by making you feel like something was being done. The itch rarely stopped, but the pink coating made it feel official. Number 22. Ipecac syrup. This is the one that would genuinely alarm people today. Every medicine cabinet in the 1980s had a small brown bottle of Ipecac syrup, and its entire purpose was to make a child vomit. The logic was straightforward. If a toddler swallowed something from under the kitchen sink, dishwasher detergent, furniture polish, drain cleaner, you gave them a tablespoon of Ipecac, and within 15 minutes, everything came back up. Pediatricians recommended it. Poison control centers told parents to keep it on hand. The American Academy of Pediatrics endorsed it as a first response for accidental poisoning, and for decades, it was considered responsible parenting to have a bottle within reach. The experience itself was brutal. The child would sit on the bathroom floor, usually crying, while the syrup worked its way through their system. Within minutes, the vomiting started, and it did not stop quickly. Wave after wave, sometimes for an hour or more. Parents stood over their children watching this happen, fully believing they were doing the right thing, because every doctor and every parenting book in America told them so. The problem was that Ipecac brought up everything, and in cases where the child had swallowed something caustic, a drain cleaner or a bleach product, the chemical burned on the way down and burned again on the way back up, sometimes causing worse damage to the esophagus than it would have done sitting in the stomach. By the early 2000s, the medical consensus shifted completely. Poison control centers reversed their recommendation. The American Academy of Pediatrics told parents to throw the bottle away. Pharmacies quietly removed it from their shelves. Today, if you told a pediatrician you kept Ipecac in your bathroom cabinet, they would tell you to get rid of it immediately. A product that every responsible parent in America owned for 30 years became something no responsible parent should ever use. Number 21. Camphofenique. The small glass bottle had a screw-on cap with a built-in applicator, and the smell could clear a room. Camphor and phenol mixed together, and parents applied it to cold sores, insect bites, cuts, and anything that looked like it might be infected. The phenol numbed everything it touched. You would dab it on a fever blister and your entire lip went dead for 20 minutes. The smell lingered on your fingers for the rest of the day, sharp and medicinal, announcing to everyone around you that you had been treated for something. Today, phenol-based topical products are still available but far less concentrated, and most parents would reach for something that does not smell like a chemistry experiment. Number 20. Bactine spray. The clear plastic bottle with the pump top was the compromise between doing nothing and using something that actually stung. Every scraped knee, every cut, every blister got a spray of Bactine, and the selling point was that it did not hurt. The commercial said so, your mother said so. And compared to the alternatives, hydrogen peroxide bubbling in a wound or iodine turning your skin orange, Bactine felt like cool water. It became the default treatment for minor childhood injuries precisely because it was painless, which meant children stopped fighting the cleanup process. Whether it actually prevented infection was secondary to the fact that it got applied without a screaming match. The brand still exists, but the idea of a product whose primary appeal was that it would not hurt you tells you everything about what the other options were doing. Number 19. Unguentine. The metal tube with the red and white label lived in every bathroom cabinet, and it came out the moment somebody touched a hot stove or grabbed a panhandle without a mitt. You squeezed a line of thick, greasy ointment onto the burn, spread it across the skin, and covered it with a bandage. The smell sat somewhere between petroleum and menthol. It was the only step. No cold water first, no assessment of severity, just unguentine and a bandage. Modern burn treatment says the exact opposite. Cool running water for several minutes, no thick ointment trapping heat against the skin. Every tube of unguentine in every bathroom in the 1980s was doing precisely what emergency rooms now tell you to avoid. Number 18. Tincture of iodine. The small brown glass bottle was standard issue in the medicine cabinet. You unscrewed the cap, and a tiny glass rod attached to the lid came out dripping with dark orange-brown liquid. Your mother would hold your hand steady and paint the iodine directly onto a cut, and the sting was immediate and fierce. It felt like liquid fire on broken skin. Children tried to pull away, but the grip was firm and the iodine went on regardless. It stained everything it touched: skin, countertops, towels, a deep brownish orange that took days to fade. The product was effective, but the application process was essentially a pain tolerance test administered to a 7-year-old. Today, most first aid kits use antiseptics that do not require bracing yourself. Number 17. Noxzema Cold Cream. The dark blue jar with the white lid sat next to the sink in every bathroom, and every night your mother scooped out a thick glob of white cream and spread it across her face like she was frosting a cake. The menthol and eucalyptus hit the air immediately. The whole bathroom smelled like a cough drop. Noxzema was sold as a cleanser, a moisturizer, a sunburn treatment, and a shaving cream, sometimes in the same magazine ad. One jar answered every question your skin could ask. Your father used it after mowing the lawn. Your sister used it on a sunburn. The dog probably would have used it if he could open the lid. The idea that a single cream could replace an entire shelf of specialized products sounds either brilliantly simple or completely absurd, depending on which decade you are standing in. Number 16. Seabreeze Astringent. The glass bottle with the light blue liquid was a staple in every teenage bathroom. You soaked a cotton ball, wiped it across your face, and watched the cotton turn gray and brown, which was supposed to prove how dirty your skin was. The astringent was mostly alcohol, and it hit your face like a slap. Your pores tightened, your eyes watered, and your skin felt like it had been scrubbed with sandpaper. Teenagers used it religiously, convinced that the burning sensation meant it was working. The dirtier the cotton ball looked, the more you believed you needed it. Today, dermatologists say that stripping all the oil from your skin with pure alcohol makes acne worse, not better. Seabreeze was essentially making the problem it claimed to solve. Number 15. Prell Shampoo. The bright green gel came in a tube, not a bottle, and it was one of the most concentrated shampoos ever sold to the American public. A pearl dropped into a bottle of Prell sank slowly to the bottom, and that visual became the entire advertising campaign for years. You squeezed a small amount into your palm, and it lathered into a mountain of foam that took 3 rinses to wash out. Using too much meant spending 10 minutes under the shower trying to get your hair to stop feeling slippery. Prell stripped every trace of oil from your scalp, which the 1980s considered a feature, not a flaw. Modern shampoos are formulated to leave natural oils behind. Prell removed them all and considered the job done. Number 14. Dippity-Doo Styling Gel. The pink jar sat on bathroom counters in millions of American homes. Your mother dipped her fingers in, pulled out a glob of translucent pink gel, and worked it through wet hair before wrapping sections around foam rollers or plastic curlers. When it dried, your hair was stiff enough to survive a windstorm. Sleeping in those rollers meant lying on a pillow that felt like a bag of golf balls, and in the morning, you pulled them out and your hair held whatever shape it had been molded into for the entire day. The gel washed out easily enough, but the bathroom counter always had a ring of dried pink residue around the jar that nobody ever wiped clean. Number 13. Aquanet Hairspray. The tall pink and white aerosol can was the single most powerful beauty product in the American bathroom, and for years it doubled as a small-scale environmental hazard. Every morning, your mother stood in front of the mirror, held the can about a foot from her head, and pressed the nozzle for a solid 5 seconds. A cloud of lacquer filled the room. You could taste it on your tongue. It coated the mirror, the counter, the towels, and anyone who walked in without knocking first. The hair itself became a solid structure, a gravity-defying architecture of curls and waves that did not move in wind, rain, or humidity. You could tap it and feel resistance, like knocking on a shell. The can used chlorofluorocarbons as a propellant, the same compound that scientists had identified as a direct threat to the ozone layer. Researchers were publishing alarming data about atmospheric damage, and one of the biggest contributors to the problem was sitting on bathroom counters between the hairbrush and the curling iron. By the late 1980s, CFC propellants were banned in the United States and Aquanet reformulated. But during the peak years, every bathroom in America was releasing ozone-depleting chemicals into the atmosphere one hairstyle at a time. The ritual was specific. You sprayed, you waited 3 seconds for the lacquer to set, and then you sprayed again. Some women went through a can every week. The empties piled up in the trash, each one a small aluminum cylinder that had held enough propellant to keep a hairstyle intact through a church service, a grocery run, and a school pickup without a single strand falling out of place. Today, the combination of aerosolized chemicals, flammable propellants, and daily inhalation in a closed bathroom would concern any safety-minded person. In 1985, it just meant your mother looked put together. Number 12. Vitalis Hair Tonic. Your father kept a dark glass bottle on his side of the medicine cabinet, and every single morning he tipped a small pool of it into his palm, rubbed both hands together, and ran them straight through his hair before he even looked in the mirror. Vitalis gave men that slicked-back, wet-look shine that had been the standard since the 1950s, and plenty of them held on to it well into the late 1980s because they genuinely believed they looked sharp. The problem was everything it touched after it left his head. The back of the couch had a permanent dark oval where he leaned every evening. His pillowcase turned a dull gray within a week. The headrest in the car looked like someone had been rubbing it with cooking oil for years, because that is essentially what was happening. Your mother draped little white cloth covers called antimacassars across the furniture specifically to deal with the damage, and she replaced them constantly. The word antimacassar came from macassar oil, a 19th century hair product that caused the same greasy problem in a different century. By the time lighter mousses and gels arrived in the late 1980s, the idea of soaking your scalp in a petroleum-based tonic before breakfast started to feel like something from a silent film. The bottle quietly disappeared from the cabinet. The stain on the couch did not. Number 11. Tame Creme Rinse. Before conditioner became its own product category, there was Creme Rinse, and Tame was the brand that sat in the shower caddy. It came in a plastic bottle, thinner and more watery than modern conditioner, and its job was to make a comb go through your hair without pulling chunks out. That was the entire sales pitch. Your mother poured it over your head after shampooing, let it sit for a minute, and then ran a wide-tooth comb through your hair while you winced. The product smelled like flowers mixed with something synthetic, and it left your hair feeling slippery but not exactly soft. Modern conditioners are designed to moisturize and repair. Tame was designed to prevent screaming during the detangling process. Number 10. V05 Hot Oil Treatment. The small foil packet looked like a ketchup pack from a drive-thru, and the instructions were simple. Drop the sealed packet into a cup of hot water, wait 2 minutes, tear it open, and pour warm oil directly onto your scalp. Then massage it in, wrap your head in a towel, and sit on the edge of the bathtub for 15 minutes while the oil soaked in. The bathroom floor got slippery, the towel got permanently stained, and your hair smelled like coconut mixed with something industrial for the rest of the day. The treatment was supposed to restore damaged hair, and women did it weekly like clockwork. Today, the routine of heating a foil packet and pouring hot oil on your head in a tiled room sounds less like self-care and more like a trip hazard. Number 9. High Karate Aftershave. The green glass bottle with the martial arts branding sat next to the razor and the shaving cream, and it was one of the most aggressive fragrances to come out of the 1970s. The commercials showed men applying high karate and being physically attacked by women who supposedly could not control themselves around the scent. The product came with a self-defense instruction booklet inside the box. You slapped it on after shaving, and the alcohol content hit every nick and cut on your face like a lit match. The scent itself was musky, sweet, and strong enough to announce your presence from 2 rooms away. Today, an aftershave marketed with fake violence and the premise that women would lose self-control would not survive a single product review. Number 8. Brut 33. The dark green bottle with the gold medallion cap was the other pillar of the American man's bathroom counter. Brut was splashed on the face, the neck, and sometimes the chest after every shower, and the scent landed somewhere between musk and leather. It was strong, and your neighbors could tell when your father had just gotten ready for work. The product line expanded into deodorant, shaving cream, and soap, and some men used the entire range at once, layering Brut on top of Brut until the fragrance became a physical presence in the room. The concept of fragrance layering exists today, but the goal is subtlety. In the 1980s, the goal with Brut was detection range. Number 7. Old Spice in the glass bottle. The white bottle with the clipper ship on the front and the gray cap sat in the same spot in the medicine cabinet for years, sometimes decades. Your father splashed it on every morning after shaving, and the scent was sharp, spicy, and impossible to mistake for anything else. If you caught a whiff of Old Spice in a department store in 1984, you knew a man over 40 had just walked through. The bottle was heavy glass, slippery when wet, and it sat on a porcelain shelf above a tile floor. Every household broke at least one. When the bottle shattered, the bathroom smelled like Old Spice for a solid week. Nobody complained. Today, the brand has reinvented itself with new scents, plastic bottles, and commercials that would have confused every dad in 1983. The original glass bottle with the ship survives only in the cabinets of men who never saw a reason to switch. Number 6. FDS. Feminine Deodorant Spray. The fact that this product existed at all is what would shock people today. It was an aerosol spray marketed to women with the message that a natural part of their body required its own separate deodorant. The can sat in the bathroom cabinet, and advertisements ran in women's magazines with headlines about freshness and confidence that nobody questioned at the time. The product contained fragrance, propellants, and chemicals that gynecologists would later warn could cause irritation and disrupt the body's natural balance. By the 1990s, the medical consensus was clear. The product was unnecessary at best and potentially harmful, At worst, the entire concept that women needed a specialized spray for a part of their body that was functioning perfectly fine reflected attitudes about women's bodies that the decade accepted without pushback. Number 5. Johnson's baby oil as tanning accelerator. This is the one that millions of Americans would rather not talk about. Every summer from the mid-1970s through the end of the 1980s, teenage girls and women across the country took a bottle of baby oil out to the backyard, the pool deck, or the beach, coated themselves from neck to ankle, and lay in direct sunlight for hours. The goal was a deep, dark tan, and baby oil was the accelerator. It contained no sun protection whatsoever, no SPF rating, no UV filter, no sunscreen of any kind. It was mineral oil and fragrance, and its entire function was to make your skin glisten so that ultraviolet radiation could do its work more efficiently. The routine was specific. You spread the oil on, lay on a towel, set a kitchen timer for 15 minutes, flipped over, and repeated. Some people added iodine to the baby oil to deepen the color. Others used a reflective sun shield under their chin to maximize exposure to the face and neck. The result was a tan that darkened over the course of the summer into something that modern dermatologists would recognize immediately as extensive UV damage. The bottle sat in the bathroom cabinet between uses, right next to the solar cane that would be needed later that same evening when the burn set in. You applied one product to maximize sun damage in the morning and reached for another to treat the consequences at night, and the cycle repeated every weekend from Memorial Day to Labor Day. Skin cancer awareness campaigns were still years from reaching the mainstream. SPF ratings existed on some products but were largely ignored by anyone who wanted a real tan. The tan itself was the status symbol, proof that you had leisure time, access to a pool, and a summer worth showing off. A modern dermatologist who saw someone coating their skin in mineral oil before lying in the sun for hours would intervene on the spot. In the summer of 1984, that same bottle just meant the season had officially started. Number 4. Solar cane. The aerosol can with the green label was the designated treatment for the damage done by Number 5. You spent the day in the sun with no protection, turned lobster red by evening, and stood in the bathroom while someone sprayed cold solar cane onto your burning shoulders. The active ingredient was benzocaine, a topical anesthetic that numbed the skin on contact. The relief was immediate and lasted about 30 minutes before the burning came back and you needed another application. Some families went through multiple cans a summer. The bathroom smelled like menthol and regret every Sunday night from June through August. The idea of a product designed specifically to numb the pain of a completely preventable injury, rather than preventing the injury itself, captures something essential about how the 1980s approached the sun. Number 3. Baby aspirin. The small orange bottle with the child-resistant cap sat in every medicine cabinet, and parents handed those tiny chewable tablets to children for fevers, headaches, growing pains, and anything that seemed vaguely uncomfortable. The tablets were flavored like candy, which created its own set of problems because children who found the bottle sometimes ate them by the handful. St. Joseph's was the dominant brand, and the chewable orange flavor was so familiar that most children of the 1980s can still recall the exact taste decades later. Then the connection between aspirin use in children and Ray's syndrome was established, and the medical world reversed course entirely. Aspirin given to children during viral infections could trigger a rare but potentially fatal condition affecting the brain and liver. Pediatricians stopped recommending it. Warning labels appeared on every bottle. A product that had been handed to children without hesitation for generations suddenly required real caution, and an entire class of medicine moved from the front of the cabinet to the back. Number 2. Vicks VapoRub. The dark blue jar with the green lid lived in every bathroom cabinet in America, and the moment you coughed twice after dinner, your mother had the cap off before you finished the third one. She scooped out a thick glob of that menthol and eucalyptus grease and rubbed it across your chest in slow, deliberate circles until your pajama top stuck to your skin. Then your throat. Then, if she was feeling thorough, a dab right under your nose. You lay in bed breathing through a cloud of vapor so strong it opened sinuses you did not know you had, and by morning your pillowcase had a greasy stain that survived every wash cycle for the rest of that pillowcase's life. Nobody prescribed it. No doctor recommended it. It was simply what American mothers did when a child coughed, the same way a fire extinguisher sits under the sink waiting for its moment. Your grandmother had a jar. Your neighbor had a jar. The jar outlasted every cold it was ever opened for, because you never seemed to use more than a thumbnail's worth at a time, and somehow there was always more. The smell alone could fill a hallway from behind a closed bedroom door. And if you grew up in the 1980s, one whiff of eucalyptus still puts you right back in that bed, pajama top sticking to your chest, breathing through the menthol and staring at the ceiling. Number 1. Castor oil. No bottle in the bathroom cabinet carried more dread than the small glass bottle of castor oil. It sat between the cough syrup and the hydrogen peroxide, and the moment your mother reached for it, you knew the next 30 seconds of your life were going to be miserable. She poured it into a spoon, held it in front of your face, and you swallowed it as fast as you could because the taste was something between old cooking grease and punishment. Castor oil was used for constipation, stomach aches, colds, fevers, and anything else that did not have a more specific remedy. If your mother could not figure out what was wrong with you, castor oil was the answer. The logic was simple. Whatever was making you sick, castor oil would move it along. Entire generations of American children grew up associating that thick, oily taste with the worst mornings of their childhood. Today it shows up in cosmetics and hair treatments, rebranded as something luxurious. In the 1980s, there was nothing luxurious about it. It was medicine, it was terrible, and it worked. Every one of those bottles, tubes, and cans sat on a shelf for years without anyone questioning what was inside them. If any of these took you back to a bathroom you grew up in, drop a comment and tell us which one your family had. Share this with someone who spent every summer coated in baby oil and solar cane. And if you want more of these, hit subscribe so you do not miss the next one. Thanks for watching.